Hi guys, it's Lindy.
And Mike here, and this is TIY,
the Tiny It Yourself channel, and today we're going to talk about why we decided to build a tiny house and do it DIY style.
So we both studied environmental sustainability in college, and that is where we were both first introduced to the idea of tiny houses as sort of an eco option or solution.
So back when we first learned about them, tiny houses were more of like a symbol of minimalism, like how small could you go? They were also a symbol of financial freedom because there was a lot of people who couldn't afford proper housing at the time, so it lent a more physical and financial freedom to those people.
And right now we're basically digital nomads by accident. Turns out we just move about every single year randomly.
Yeah, and I actually grew up moving a lot. It came down to about every 9 months or so. So I liked the idea where you didn't have to pack and then unpack your house, because if you've ever moved before, you know how utterly annoying and horrible that process is.
And this way, you can just move your house if it's on wheels. And I think we both liked the idea of the ingenuity between tiny houses, the solutions to all the problems and the folding out random stuff.
Yeah, I just thought that was like really creative and like mind-blowing for some reason. Like, I don't know why people didn't ever think before like a desk could be a table, but could also be like a picture on the wall that folds down, or it can transform into a bed. Like, that was just like, whoa.
Isn't a desk a type of table?
No.
Okay. We also both like to create things. I've done a lot of industrial design, and she likes to craft. For example, she made these leaves, and they've been moved to like 3 different locations now. And so it's the idea of sort of investing yourself into something to create something when you're just going to move again. Like, I built an entire awesome standing desk that folded down at our old apartment, but we just couldn't bring it with us.
Yeah, and I actually come from a fine arts technical theater background, constructing props and sets and costumes. So I kind of wanted a way to like rehome those skills, and I think we both wanted a way to have like a creative physical outlet beyond like computer-centric work.
Yeah, and I really wanted to learn all these basic trades like welding, more about plumbing, electrical, and stuff like that, so it was a perfect solution.
I was also really inspired by our local, it's called the Habitat for Humanity Restore, where they kind of recycle new and used building materials for really cheap. And I was thinking, wow, all these tinies we see nowadays are like $100,000, which is crazy because where we live, that is like the price of a regular house. So I was like, we could probably do this if we use things like the Restore for well under $10,000.
So that was the main reason we decided to go the DIY direction. You can pay other people to do this, and then it kind of just becomes a luxury RV situation instead of a project where you learn. There's times you need to pay somebody to do things, don't get me wrong, but I think it's the best way to go, to learn as much as you can out of it and save money. Why not? I mean, we pay tens of thousands of dollars to go to college nowadays, and you can learn so much and get a house out of it, so it's pretty awesome.
Another big thing that pushed us over the edge is at the time we were living at an up-and-coming tiny house eco-village called So Fair Farms, and they had a lot of land. They also had like a mini shop, so we were like, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it now where the cost of living is really cheap. We have the land, and we also have the equipment, which if you're DIYing, you need those things.
And now, as you already know because you're watching this video on YouTube, YouTube is such an amazing inspiration to do these things. Just watching basically every week somebody post a new amazing tiny house, that it just made it kind of hard for us to not go ahead and try to make one.
Back when we first learned, there wasn't anything like that, but the communities have grown so wide and everyone is so friendly and willing to help you that you can pretty much find instructions on anything that you want to do.
And we accidentally ended up staying about 2 minutes from the Tiny House Jamboree in Colorado Springs on vacation. And so just going and seeing all these awesome tiny houses just kind of, it solidified it for us.
Yeah, and another big reason for us is that we eventually want to be probably in a more warm location. And with warm locations, they tend to be more expensive. So we were like, do we want to pay $1,500 plus for like a 1-bedroom in like maybe a sketchy kind of neighborhood? Or we could roll up in a tiny house, have that all to ourselves, and maybe pay like a small monthly fee of like $500 or whatever for the land. Like, it made more sense to do that.
Yeah, the cost to move like across country can be 1 month's rent for a lot of these apartments. And so it just seemed like a good way to prepare to move somewhere that we didn't know where was.
So, like, we're not obligated to be somewhere like you are with the lease. Like, if we don't like a community or a neighborhood, a location, etc., we can just roll out. Just roll out.
And you don't have to pay those security deposits and stuff. But what might be the main motivator of all is that we want to really go off grid and lower our carbon footprint and impact on the earth. And this way we can be solar powered. We can try crazy things like had the idea of doing a methane digester where you then scrub the CO2 out and basically make natural gas that is ready to plug in these propane devices.
Another reason is for us, we like to travel. I'm not saying necessarily travel with our tiny house, but because of the money we save from having a tiny house, you know, save on rent and utilities, etc., we can put that money into something we like more, like traveling.
So for us, it's mainly about the adventure of making something with our own hands that we can keep with us, and just having a sense of ownership as well.
Yep, just honing our skills, creativity, outlets, etc.
Saving the environment.
Yeah, that's a big one. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, and check out our Instagram, Tiny It Yourself. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for our next video, which should be on our roofing.
All right, see you next time.
Bye. Rude. Bye.